Hayes is either too big to be a town or too small to be a city. At Fort Hays State University, metropolitan students lack a sprawling atmosphere and rural students struggle to adjust to the influx. Regardless of modern accommodations, though, the media knows Hayes as a quintessential stop in isolated America. In 1976, Radio Télévision Suisse profiled Hayes for the Swiss documentary A Quiet America in commemoration for the United States' bicentennial. Directors Marc Schindler and Jean-Jacques Lagrange portrayed rural American life for a European audience, which they believed only knew portrayals of major cities. It's a slow-paced documentary about a slow-paced town, and it went over well enough for Schindler to revisit Hayes in 2015.
Hayes changed for the best. You have new equipment, a new hospital, you have that sort of thing. But they didn't change much.
2 years later, this old film was immortalized online, courtesy of the Hayes Arts Council. It was the first time most Hayes locals were ever able to see the film, and for Council Executive Brenda Mader, localizing this film was almost like opening a time capsule.
They actually still had the raw copy of it, the raw interview without the French voiceovers. So the completed film, as they showed it, just without any of the French translation and or documentary narrative dropped in.
Morning farm price trends, soybeans, corn, and wheat all higher.
Nearly half a century has passed, and all but 3 of the starring locals have either left or died. Those final quiet Americans are the ubiquitous sculptor Pete Felton, retired radio host Mike Cooper, and former newscaster Errol Warts.
I came at Hayes in 1967, and I worked at KAYS Radio and Television until 1978.
High pressure comes moving in, and it'll be in the north-central sections of Texas by this time tomorrow.
Originally from Ohio, Warts' life hasn't changed very much. After leaving KAYS, he got his bachelor's and master's in communication at FHSU to become a realtor. Now in his 80s, Warts is still working the same job, giving him a front row seat to the ways Hayes has changed.
Actually, if you want to talk about when I first came here, there wasn't anything north of Interstate 70.
Ironically, A Quiet America was not the first time Hayes locals encountered a major production company.
Let's see, now we can veer down to Lucas, and we'll veer over to Wilson, veer off to Lorain and Bushton.
And we could veer out to Hoisington.
The 1973 comedy blockbuster Paper Moon sent shockwaves when the crew opted to film in northwest Kansas instead of its original setting in Alabama. The Hayes Arts Council recently commemorated an anniversary display, and many locals reminisced on people they knew with starring roles in the film.
Harriet Ketchum, who had been a very, very large figure on campus in the communication department, particularly through the theater program. She had a speaking role in there. Ralph Coder, who is a local citizen, and I think he had some connection to campus.
At the time, though, filming was controversial. For many locals, Hollywood was too rambunctious for such a quiet town.
I was working at the station, and I'm trying to think who the person was had not paid their rent on the property they were renting, and I went out to interview them, and I think they were getting served with papers by the sheriff's department, and the production company didn't want me around anymore, so that ended my following of Paper Moon.
Today, Hayes is a less quiet place. Its population has grown 37%, and its Volga German roots have all but vanished.
A lot of other communities are not doing as much at Oktoberfest, the traditional German people, because most of them have passed away.
My Großvater und Großmutter kamen auf die Welt in Katharienstadt.
Regardless of how it continues to change, though, Hayes will always have quite a film repertoire to its name.
Someone in some point of time thought that this was special. And that goes a long way in sort of making you feel good about your place in the world and in your community.
Reporting for Tiger Media Network, this is Ellinor Couchman.